What's up? So, why should runners train like hybrid athletes? Well, did you know that 80% of runners get injured every year? And that's a staggering number. But why is this happening? There's multiple reasons. You probably heard of too much, too soon, too fast. But I'm going to just argue that it's just training smarter, just making smart training decisions. Sure, the way you train, if you run too much or doing too soon, that's part of training smarter. But another concept of that is just being a hybrid athlete, just kind of being well rounded. And people have different terms for this, like cross training in different areas. The hybrid athlete, there's different definitions and who you talk to. Some may say a hybrid athlete, just someone who does running and lifting, like they lift weights and run. But I'm going to make an argument that it means more just than just running and doing weightlifting, right? Because strength training can come in different forms. Strength training can come in body weight. It can come in doing bands or machines. It doesn't have to be barbell, lifting. If you like barbells, that's fine. But there's different ways to do strength training. It doesn't just have to be lifting like the barbell lift. And further, I'm also going to argue that hybrid training includes other styles of training as well, not just running and lifting. So let's talk about a problem with runners when they just run alone, right? They tend to be prone to overuse injuries, right? Especially if you're running, you know, accumulating lots and lots of miles per week. Let's say you're training for a marathon, maybe you're accumulating 40, 50, 60 plus miles a week. And now you're putting yourself at risk for things like patellofemoral pain syndrome, IT band syndrome, Achilles tendinopathy, and shin splints. And this isn't just for marathon runners, even runners who do shorter distance, like maybe you're a beginner, you're training 5K, you're also at risk for these types of injuries as well. And the reason being that running is a high impact sport. And when you're running, right, every time your foot hits the ground, the foot strike, there's anywhere from 2 to 3 times your body weight. So let's say you're a 100-pound runner, that's going to be 200 to 300 pounds of force going through your leg every time the foot hits the ground. And if your body's not strong enough to handle the demands of running and it's not able to recover between run workouts, that stress accumulates over time and the body's tissue start getting, overuse injuries, wear and tear on the body. All right. Now, there's other factors that go into that. Of course, like your running form, are you running with good form, bad form? All right. Is your knees collapsing inward called dynamic knee valgus? But there's other things that you can do outside of running that can help you reduce the risk of injury. It's not just about running less or, decrease runs. It's also about incorporating smart training, which includes strength training, mobility and flexibility. All right. Balanced training into your routine. And that's what I'm making an argument that hybrid athlete training is all about. It's not just running and then doing just random strength training lifts. It's about having a smart training plan that goes into the overall picture of what you want to accomplish. And, if you're purely a runner, like running is your main sport, you could think of these other things as supplementary activities to make you a better runner. Or maybe you're on the camp where you like to run and lift. Maybe you like both of them 50-50. That's fine too. You can still have a smart training plan and incorporate running and lifting 50-50 split. That's totally cool. And there's a way to do it in a smart way that helps you kind of progress in both. You could, make gains in your running speed. You can also make gains in your strength. Or maybe you're into like body composition and stuff like that. So again, a hybrid athlete is someone who combines multiple types of training to build a strong and resilient body. And for runners, this incorporates, again, strength training and mobility work in addition to normal run routine, right? So this could be, let's take a sample week, right? This could be just doing, maybe you run 3 days a week, but then you also add 2 to 3 strength workouts in that week and then 2 to 3 flexibility sessions to your runs every week. So how do we build that hybrid training plan? Here's a step-by-step how to put it all together. One, you make sure you hit the basics, right? If you want to be better at running and you only run 1 or 2 times a month, that's not enough. You should be running weekly, especially if your goal, maybe you're trying to run faster, maybe you're trying to pass a fitness test, or you just want to run fast because you want to hit a PR, just health reasons, for whatever reason, you need to run more and at least 3 run workouts a week. But even better, especially if you're trying to really get good at running, would be even like 4 or 5 days a week, if your schedule allows. I understand some people have very busy schedules, but here's a breakdown of just doing 3 run workouts a week. So day 1 could be a speed workout. Maybe you do track repeats, or you do interval style workouts on a treadmill, or hill repeats, or incline simulated hill on a treadmill. And then you do that. Maybe it's like a 15 or 20 minute speed workout, or 30 minutes, speed workout, including the rest periods. Day two could be more of a longer, like speed endurance, lactate threshold run, a tempo run. Maybe that's 30 to 45 minutes or up to an hour. And then day three could be your classic long run. Maybe that's 1.5, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on what you're training for. Maybe you're training for a marathon. It may be longer. Maybe it's a half marathon, or even if it's a 5K, at least like an hour long run. And then you have this is your 3-day run workout split. Next, you want to also have strength training, at least 2 to 3 sessions a week. So strength training, again, is very important for runners. It's going to make you more efficient. You can bounce back from recovery. There's some studies that show that you get improve your running economy, your efficiency by 8%, which is going to lead you to run faster, more efficient, and just be more resilient. So there's lots of options. There's going to be different opinions on this. I know some coaches like these long, multiple sets, but they take a long time and it could put a lot more stress on the body. I'm the camp of more single set to routine. That means just doing a single set exercise. So for example, let's take the squat. You do the squat, one set to muscle fatigue. And typically you're using a weight that you fatigue in around 8 to 12 reps. You call it the 8 to 12 rep max weight where you fatigue in that exercise. So one option that I routinely do is a full body single set routine. So I'll hit upper body, core, lower body. So for example, I might do squats and deadlifts, and then I might be doing overhead press or rows, and then I might do stuff for the core. But another routine that I like is split routine, where I actually split the body into sections and then alternate them between different days. For example, have a day for just upper body strength training, a day for lower body strength training, and a day for core or that midsection strength training. So for example, let's say lower body day one, squats, Romanian deadlift, calf raises, and there's other lower body exercises you can do. Just give you a general guideline there. Maybe you pick 4 or 6 strength lower body exercise on day one. Then day two, you may do a bench press, bent over row, overhead press, triceps press. Again, there's other upper body exercises you could do. And then day three may do more core force stuff, things like side planks, bird dogs, dead bugs, Turkish get-ups. And then overall, then you just kind of alternate. So for the split routine, you could do this just do an upper and lower body day or upper, lower body and core day and have a 3-day or 2-day a week workout. Or maybe you want to do 4 days a week strength workout. Up to you, and what works for your schedule and your recovery levels. However, I still recommend the single set to fatigue. Again, just doing one set to muscle fatigue or muscle failure, they call it, using a weight that you fatigue around 8 to 12 reps. Next, you also want to do mobility and flexibility training, at least 2 to 3 sessions a week. So runners often overlook this, but mobility and flexibility are some game changers for performance and recovery. Now, ideally, you want to focus on areas that you're already tight on or stiff. You have maybe very stiff areas. But if you're not sure what areas are tight or stiff on you, maybe you're brand new to this or you don't have that body awareness yet. Common areas that are tight in runners are the thoracic spine or sometimes even the lumbar spine, which is going to be your mid-back, low back. Others would be hips. A lot of times runners have tight hip flexors, whether that's psoas muscle, psoas major. Another would be the hamstrings, back of the thigh, or the front of the thigh, the quads, or the back of the lower leg, the calves, or even the bottom of the foot, the plantar fascia. You could stretch this out, spend maybe 90 seconds stretching out each tight area. But however, if you're particularly stiff, you might even do 3 minutes for a very tight or stiff area. And then obviously we do both sides. And also a big fan of just doing targeted or longer routines. So maybe if your schedule allows it, right, do something like yoga or some other kind of similar stretching routine that kind of covers the whole body, right? I'm actually personally a big fan of yoga. And a way you could program yoga or similar style of stretching routine, 2 to 3 sessions a week, right? So maybe you do a 20-minute stretching routine or a 30-minute yoga routine. Again, whatever works in your schedule and what you find you have to address for your tight areas. Now, if you're really limited at time, right, you're like, man, Ray, this all sounds nice, but I don't even have time to run, let alone add strength training and mobility training. How can we make this work? This sounds like a lot. So here's a 1-hour hybrid workout you can do. You can start with 30 minutes of running, plus 20 minutes of strength training, plus 10 minutes of mobility training. And that's going to give you a full hour of a quality workout, and you get to work on multiple areas for your body. You see I put the running, strength training, and mobility. And then you could just do that 3 times a week or even 5 times a week. So anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a week. I find even if you're juggling a full schedule, you have a busy, home life, maybe you have kids, etc. Doing even if it's just 3 hours a week is definitely better than none. And I'm still going to argue for at least 5 hours. I mean, you can find 5 hours to get this type of workout in, but at the very least, I think most people, even with very busy jobs, can fit in 3 hours of this strength plus running plus mobility 1 hour workout in and get all the bases covered. So, why does hybrid training work? It builds stronger, more resilient body, helps the body recover faster between workouts, reduces injury risk significantly, and boosts overall athletic performance. Right. So don't make excuses. Don't say, "Oh, I don't have the time." Right. Especially if you check your phone and you're spending like 4 hours a day on social media or doom scrolling or watching like cat videos on YouTube, you definitely have the time. Very few people are so busy that they can't like carve out 1 hour for 3 days a week to do 3 hours a week of this hybrid style run, lift, and mobility style workout. Very, very few people are. And oftentimes it's usually just a matter of priorities, prioritizing what's important in your schedule, and you can make this happen. Now that I've discussed how powerful hybrid training can be for runners, why not take the first step? If you're struggling, you're like, man, how do I make hybrid training work for me? Or maybe you have a specific issue, you're dealing with an injury, or maybe you're training for a certain race and you want more guidance. Check out my free training. I'm going to link it below here. And if you're really gung-ho about working together, you could also book a call off that free training. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.